guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. Water is wet and RPS members are shipping as usual. Our NBA content has been on fire since the beginning of the season. I kicked off the week by shipping a WFBBC seat on FanDuel using a low-owned Isaiah Livers recommended on the Premium Final Countdown show.
I hope he comes off the bench because I know for a fact they love this kid. They're going to give him run no matter what. They're probably going to push him, and he's $3,100.
Our premium content comes through Big Time, whether it's our up-to-lock shows, heat maps, core plays, or playbook. Join us today so you can start shipping too. I wasn't the only one shipping a seat last week. Our guy Locke secured a DraftKings NBA Live Final seat as well. AP's core plays from Sunday helped a bunch of members win too. Junior hit for $3,000, while Nick's story shipped for over $15K. Steve Boynton used our core plays and playbook to make a late swap that won him $3,000 in NBA. And Punisher used the NBA heat map to ship $100,000 on DraftKings. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well. Keep the good mojo going. Our NFL dominance continued into week 8 as well with some big wins. D-Hops shipped for $4K on FanDuel. EJOCam won $5K. And Dirty Deeds 30 hit for $7,500. Some of our best screenshots aren't necessarily the huge scores. Bankroll building is a big part of becoming successful, and we love to see the good ROI hits too. Cusplove illustrated this perfectly, turning $2 into $800, while Wes turned $18 into $2,500 on DraftKings, and Jalapeno turned $198 into a monster $77K. His Great Pizza brought the great mojo in Cincinnati. Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Until next time, let's keep running pure.
Your ass better call somebody.
It's me. It's that BIGT.
What is up, Jabroni? JJ back here with the crew talking college football. A few goats. Travis Mangone sporting the red today. I'll tell you this, Travis. Maybe it's just me. You look vibrant. What's is that a new sweater for you? I never see you wearing the red on shows.
It's the old the Rum Pure Sports sweatshirt, right? Of course. No, it's not new or anything. I got it at the party.
I don't know if it's a sweater though. Like, it's not a sweater.
It's a hoodie. What do you think? We have like Rum Pure Sports sweaters, like. You know,
I pick Mangone. Mangone comes off as a sweater guy. He does. Like a guy that typically.
I've wore a sweater back in my day. I don't have any sweaters right now. I don't.
We should get some Run Pure ugly sweaters for like when everyone does that around the holidays. We should get some of those.
Yeah, the Run Pure Sports ugly Christmas sweaters. There you go.
Run Pure turtlenecks. I can wear them to baptism. Bruce, the silent assassin. Question for you, Bruce. Sure. I'll tell you what, you're a lot like me. You're very like monotone, very calm, composed. What does it take for Bruce to get hyped? Like what gets you going in the morning?
Man, you should see the Tilt Fests on Friday nights, watching some of these games.
So you get animated. So if you're
yeah. My wife can hear me across the house sometimes. Like I think Thursday night, one of my guys dropped a touchdown. It would have been 80-yarder. And she was yelling at me, but yeah, usually I can get pretty tilted. I try not to take it in the chat, but yeah.
So how do we get that same level of passion on these? Like, how is it like, grab the nuts and face gets red? How do we get that version of Bruce?
Man, that's a tough one. I mean, if I feel really convicted on a play, I might just get a little fired up. Today there's a couple, so you might see it. Possibly.
I got an idea. I'm thinking we throw a trap bar in that room. It feels like, you would deadlift it. It just seems to get your mojo going in the morning. I see the pics, I see the whole bit. Maybe we just in between games, you just hop behind there, do a few on the trap bar, and get back in. Look, you got the protein shake with you.
I got the pre-workout going. So yeah, let's do it.
Cool stuff. Big T. Some people know who you are. How's your week been?
Been good. Watch Tambo ship another 1 or 2 times this week. Our man Tambo is just so hot right now, shipping different sports, he's owning everyone. And I love it because Tambo just does so much for us. So it's fun to see all his hard work pay off, and man's just been crushing, as you see on the core report every single week. So happy to see that. And yeah, ready for another college week with my Tennessee squad, or our Tennessee squad. We've been on them heavy on here. Chance to prove themselves today. A massive game. Can't wait.
Yeah, it should be fun. And based on the way pricing is today, I just, and I'm sure you guys talk obviously once you get there, I just don't think the ownership is going to be very high on players in that game. Granted, it could be, but there's just so many other quote unquote better plays. So yeah, you can probably get
classic spot that I always talk about where people are scared of the tough matchups, and it might just not be as tough as people think it is.
Yeah, Big T, by the way, can we not bury the lead? Like, we are here with Mr. Number 7 in the rankings, Uncle Dunkel, for college football. No one gave this man an intro.
Yeah.
I mean, he is ranked number 7 in college football in the world. So, Uncle Dunkel, you are joining us as well. So, flex some stuff a little bit here.
No, it's actually been a losing week for me, week after week, as I watch other folks in this group, on this show, by the way, passing me consistently in the lobbies. You love to see it, though. I mean, it's a consistent group all around. Probably a mathematical error or something for why I'm 7. I'm sure RG just has to update a few more things. But either way, looking forward to talking this slate. Looks like the energy's not quite there yet. Maybe it's a little early in the morning, but we'll definitely get there. I'll get us there. All right, so let's dive into this slate. Now, there is some interesting, as once again, with no injury reports prior to Saturday, some interesting things are starting to pop up. But either way, we'll get to each of these as we go. We'll start with Missouri, Kentucky. Let me just pull up what I have here. So Missouri 19.5, Kentucky 21, at least projected totals. As far as matchups go, it looks like this will be a good game for Missouri to run the football if they'd like. Obviously, Kentucky, Chris Rodriguez gets a lot of hype, 6,800, I believe. So he's in play. It's just there's so much, quote unquote, better chalk. Schrader from Missouri at 4.4 is likely not going to see much ownership. And it makes sense to play him in certain capacities because Kentucky's really not great at stopping the run. They're much better versus the pass. But with that said, opportunities will be there. And conversely to that, Kentucky, while they might not throw all that often, when they do, it's typically quite fruitful. Missouri's really good against the pass. So interesting battle of clashes here. But as far as plays go, for me, C-Rod, Schrader, potentially love it if you want on the Mizzou side. Nothing I truly love in this spot. Bruce, I'll start with you. Who are some options you like in this game?
Yeah, you mentioned Schrader. He's fine. Kentucky has had issues with the run a little bit. This game is I think Missouri's defense is underrated. They had their best offensive performance, I think, last week against South Carolina. I don't mind a guy like Barry and Brown for Kentucky. He's up to a 24% target share last 4 weeks. He's kind of one of their young guys that's really quick with the football. Yeah, other than that, man, it's tough to play anybody from this game. Connor Cook looked good last week, or Brady Cook, not Connor Cook. But yeah, it's pretty much just probably Schrader, and that's it.
Big T, I know this is typically not a U type of game, but there are little pivot spots you can take. Anything you like here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would just be the running backs, and there's a bunch of good running back plays on this slate, but it'd be C-Rod and Schrader. I mean, Schrader's 4,400. I don't know, though. There's so many good running back plays out there and in similar price range of these two. So I don't see myself getting there, but those would be the only two guys. One thing that blew my mind. So I'm not big on the NFL draft compared to some people. When I saw this Levis is supposed to be a top 5 pick, I literally almost fell off the couch. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then to take it even further, I heard an interview and he was like talking about he's like Josh Allen. Then I fell back off the couch. So like 2 times how in the world is this dude projected to be a top 5. I'm like mind blown. I've been mind blown all week about this.
I heard the Josh Allen comp too, and I was like, that has to be a mistake, right? Like, I just kind of just glossed over and like, there's no way this was real. This had to be some dumb announcement.
I'm literally stunned. It's going to be one of these trash teams too, like the Lions or somebody that end up getting him. And then they wonder like why they're never good. It's because you took a guy like freaking Will Levis.
So I'm not a rivals guy or a scout guy, or I forget the other side. What's it? 2-4x7, all these scouting different sites. As far as physically, yeah, I guess he fits the mold similar. He's a little shorter than Allen, but as far as physical size, he's definitely on par physically with Allen. And let's not forget, like Allen was questioned a lot when he was drafted, coming from Wyoming. He was just a big kid. Wasn't great at Wyoming. Was okay, was good, but so I don't think it's a crazy stretch. It's crazy what we've seen Josh Allen turn into. But all things considered, Levis plays in a pro style offense, which
you're digging into the Levis. I was not expecting this. You're going the other direction on me here, defending him.
I think it's in this day and age of college football, I think it's very difficult to weigh in true talent versus system talent. The only thing I could say with Levis is he's in an NFL type system, which does project better for him at the next level.
An NFL style system that doesn't score points. I mean, what about the just straight noodle projection where he's got a small noodle? Like, what about that?
I think the best thing I could say is that he's got practically 3-star recruits around him. I think the idea is that if
3-star recruits and 3 inches in his pants.
But needless to say, I'm not saying he deserves it. I'm just saying that physically, if he's making a physical comparison, I could see it, especially with the offense he's playing in. But yeah, who knows? Who knows, right?
Douglas, some people say that you're a system college football tout, but I think you're talented. You're number 7 in the world. So don't.
I agree. I'm with Mangone. Me and Mangone are arm in arm today.
Mangone, feel free to weigh in on Levis. Actually, we're going to skip you from it. Bruce, you know NFL caliber talent from this side of the pond. Will Levis, what's your thoughts on him being a pro?
Yeah, I don't see it either. Just he's inaccurate. He just has a long way to go. I thought the same about Josh Allen too. So I mean, he could develop into something a lot better. His talent there at Kentucky isn't that great. So yeah, I don't really see it yet.
The crazy part is I was always a Josh Allen guy. Like he can pull like tweets for the people that don't believe me, but he just looks just straight eyeballing it. I would have thought Josh Allen was like 5-6 inches taller than Levis. That's just the truth of just how I see it. I'm sure it's not true because of if the dude's projected to be a top 5 pick, I know Dunkel's right with all these things. I'm making jokes, but I know it's right. But just straight eyeball test, Josh Allen, even at Wyoming, just seemed way bigger to me. I don't know. It's the way they play, I guess.
Yeah, it's also a timing thing, right? Like I feel pretty confident like 4 or 5 years ago, Will Levis would not be in that conversation. I think we've seen this kind of new breed of physicality at the quarterback position, and he does look that part specifically. Mangone, either way, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm not dying to play many guys in this game. I understand the Schrader, Rodriguez. There are like Big T, so there are guys in that range. If I played anyone, it'd probably more likely be Schrader just because of the sour relief it could provide me, because I do feel pretty locked into a couple of running backs already. But Rodriguez is one of those guys too. Like you could mix and match in tournaments. Depends how many lineups you're playing. If you're playing like a couple, I don't see yourself getting there. If you're playing more MME, I could see yourself getting those 2 guys, but that's really it. Not really looking to do that, and not really looking to play Josh Allen, even on the college football level. No Will Levis for me.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Now this is very annoying. And I know like people sometimes like when they make these price mistakes. I promise you, I personally can't stand it. I believe it's pronounced Achane.
You're coming at Big T right now. Big T loves the mispriced guys.
Bruce, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because here's my thing. It's not obviously like, it's just that like from my perspective, built in as many lineups that I am, like I basically have to lock a guy like him in, and it's annoying because he's going to be like 80% owned. And if he gets there, it doesn't do me any good. If he doesn't get there, it doesn't do me any good. Like it just becomes a wash when they price a guy like this. Like even if they priced him at $7K, he'd probably be 40% owned. He's 5,500 for whatever the fuck reason. And it's annoying. Now, Big T, what's your perspective on guys that they way misprice? Like it's one thing to misprice a guy. It's one thing to way misprice a guy. What's your thoughts when they do what they did today with a chain?
Yeah, especially when it's college. I like it. I'll always like it because he's going to be very high owned, but there's still casual people that will just miss it and just mess it up. And and it takes the one less decision. I always like it at running back too, more than other positions, as crazy as that sounds, because I can still correlate other spots. Like I can double stack a quarterback, like I always do, the same way I always build. Like say I wanted to play the Tennessee game today, I could play both quarterbacks. I could pop in a few receivers in there. And I always like when my running backs come from other spots. So if I can just lock in a running back in a different spot that's mispriced in a lock, it just takes one decision off the plate for me. So I always like it. I get it. I mean, if he was 8K today, what would his ownership be? And with his projection, he should be like 8K. So I don't know. Like you guys would rather him just be 8K and take a decision off. I get that too, but
Not
just
8K.
give me the free
I'd rather
square.
be
I'll
a little
take the free
higher.
square.
Like 8K, I think would be wrong, but I think you could put
But
it
just
higher.
to me, when he's
I mean,
priced
like
this,
look at
it
the
makes
range
everybody-
though. Like if you just pull up running back, like okay.
I mean,
let's pull-
Ibrahim shouldn't be his price too. Ibrahim's like the max should be higher at running back, in my opinion.
So
well, like just use the pit guy, 7,700. He's got a lower projection than Achain, or however you say his name.
Yeah, he shouldn't. Like
So they're just all too cheap. I mean, eventually,
yeah. I think the pricing in general is all too cheap. Like I think it's
what
all
should they be? What should the pit guy be?
I actually think they priced him right. Like I
yeah,
actually,
he's right. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what I
I'm
mean.
fine with
and
his-
this dude's got a higher projection, so why- 8K?
Ibrahim should be in like the 9Ks if we're being honest.
So what should
there's-
the A&M
there's-
guy be? Is my question.
I'd probably then put him like high sevens, like along with whatever his name is,
Yeah.
Abandaconda.
Yeah, you rolled that off nicely. I like that.
Yeah,
that was good
that was
work.
beautiful.
somebody
Yeah.
explained to me how the dude's 5,600 then 6K, 30 burgers back-to-back weeks, and he's
This is the part that I don't get.
And
Yeah.
Like, why does it come down? Like, it doesn't make sense.
So that's kind of my point. I don't, like I said, I get it if a player's returning from injury and he's underpriced, fine, because there's added variance there. But a guy that's proven a stud, never leaves the field, back-to-back games against better defenses.
The simple answer is they want you to make a lot more teams, right? They want you to keep building and putting a lot of teams in contests. They want it to be easy on you. They don't want it to be hard, because when it's hard, you kind of quit building. You're like, God, this is annoying.
And I guess I get it. It obviously it's one less decision you have to make, right, Tony? But like to me, I look at it as it's one less decision almost everybody's going to make. And
Yeah, I mean, it's true, but there still will be 20-30% that fade him, and
Yeah.
like that's still 20 to 30% of the field. When he goes for 30, those 20 to 30% are in trouble. I don't think it really matters as much as we all think it does. Like, is it good or bad? I don't know.
Yeah,
And
there-
I do know one thing though. All these freaking shows I do, there's a million names that pop. I mean, I do a show literally all 7 days, at least one. You wouldn't think I recognize the name, but this freaking Mike always comes in every show and just says his little comment about the dupe like it's the funniest thing in the world. Come on, Mike, get some new content. You can't just say the same thing every show with your stupid little symbol that's all black. I see you.
I like riled up Big T. I like
I
riled
do
up.
too.
Consider me a fan.
Me too.
Separately from this game, and Bruce, I'll start with you because you have typically the best handle on the show in regards to injuries. I was going to be pretty high on Wegman today, probably close to 50%. Now magically I wake up and he's questionable. He was not questionable last night. So
he's-
illness, hasn't practiced. Any extra prognosis you have here?
Yeah, there's all kinds of message board rumors from people that are trustworthy that he's going to be out, and Haynes King will start. Also, I'm seeing some rumors on A-Chain as well. So we might not have
What
to
are
worry
the
about him
rumors
at all.
about him? Don't be saying this now.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
you're talking
you
about
can't
the free
just-
square.
I
getting
tried
out.
to break in a couple times. Y'all are just too loud for me. But supposedly there's three of their running backs are dealing with it. So we could get some 3K running backs here from A&M as well. So just something to watch out for. But supposedly it's the flu. So
That would be classic college football, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about the free square. He's 80% out, and then
Mhm.
3 minutes before lineup lock, they're like, he's not on the field.
Yeah.
And then everyone's got to scramble.
Yeah.
Actually, honestly, because we are so good at adjusting, I would like that personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
As
just
long
like,
as it's not after lock when he's
Yeah.
85% owned and he's just standing there or something.
I'll even take 3 minutes is tough, but I'll take 3 minutes. I guess it would be. I'd rather 5, but yeah, I don't want it to become an hour before. That's too much time.
Yeah, and supposedly some of their defensive guys are out too. So, it makes Anthony Richardson an even better play. I thought he was a solid play before, just because if you watched the Ole Miss game last week, they just got tore up on defense. They look so tired. Our guy Judkins just ran right through them all game. I think he had 200 yards.
Uncle hated
plus.
to see it.
So yeah, I think the running game, anybody on offense, possibly could be in play for Florida.
Mangone, thoughts on this game? Obviously, we already talked on a chain, and the quarterback injury news we'll have to wait on. Anything other than that you like? Because I thought the passing game was in a great spot for A&M, including a chain, because he catches so many passes. But obviously, King is more of a dual threat, not as accurate. I have my concerns there, but what do you like in this game?
Yeah, Evan Stewart's fine, but I think there's other receivers I'd rather go to. Is one of the problems I'm having with it. The Anthony Richardson thing, the problem with him all year is, why are they not designing runs for him, right? It's like he's just really not taking off like he used to. It's just like that's part of like the dual threat that he has. So it seems like they don't really do that. They just have him drop back, and then like if he gets in jams, he tries to get out of it. I mean, I would want to see them more so like actually like use him in that way. So that's why I'm kind of struggling to get there a bit. I am looking for some salary saving quarterbacks, and like I don't think the salary saving quarterbacks are that great today. I think they're fine. But so maybe I sprinkle in a little bit of Richardson. I really haven't played him at all this year. So it does seem like a spot where, because of just the 5 and 6K range, not having a ton of options, maybe I sprinkle him in for some MME stuff, but I am trying to spend up more at quarterback this week.
All right, then Big T, what about you for this game?
Yeah, I don't know. We got to wait on news. I guess you can definitely play Richardson, and all these A&M guys are underpriced for sure. I mean, King, Stewart, Moose, all these guys are underpriced. So
Do you know who Moose's daddy is?
No, but I'm interested now.
Muhsin Muhammad, the former Panther, I think he was.
Really?
Yeah. I just found that out
we're
this
all
week.
getting old when you know their dads and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think Chad Pennington's son's at Marshall playing quarterback. I mean, it's getting to be a tough scene for us.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Hold on one second. Sorry, I'm loading. Super fast computer. I'm sure you guys can all. Mangone knows what I'm talking about. TCU, Texas Tech. Very big total. TCU's in a very good offensive spot here. Duggan kind of let down a bit last week. Definitely the Quentin Johnston let down as well. I mean, he got there a bit, but he didn't win you any money by himself last week. That's for sure. Texas Tech is a disaster at quarterback right now. I guess, is Morton going to play? I don't even know. It seems like they're just rotating every guy in for a few snaps every game now, which makes this offense strange. It also looks like Taj Brooks has overtaken Thompson from the running back position. This game's going to have a lot of points. I'm just finding it hard to really fall in love with anything on the Texas Tech side. I think TCU side is super easy, right? You either play Duggan and Johnston together, or you play Miller running back. Texas Tech's the tougher part for me, though. Mangone, I'll start with you for this game. What do you like, if anything? Obviously, TCU side's kind of obvious, but anything specific stick out to you?
Yeah, it's hard not to like this game. This is definitely one of the games that I think people are going to look to target. Max Duggan, you can obviously play him. The receiver situation is always frustrating, right? Because he can easily have a big game and like the receivers are not on the winning lineup. That can happen. I do want to kind of pair him up. It's basically trying to pick. Do you want to spend up for Johnston? Johnson, I think, is a good play, but just to kind of give like an overview of the receiver position today, like there's a lot of really good receivers up top. You got Josh Downs is a really good option. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Egbuka, with the Ohio State running back situation being a bit of a mess. So those are obviously good options. Keelan Stokes, who we like to play. I know Big T is probably going to want to look at some of these Tennessee guys. Brock Bowers against Tennessee in the game that can interact. Like there's a lot of good spend up receivers where I wonder what his ownership is going to be. Because if you play Duggan, you play some of these other running backs that we talked about, you do start to run out of some salary. So overall, I think Johnston is a good play at 7-4. I could see myself embracing a little bit of these other TCU receivers, though, just because of what it can do for my full lineup, like Tay Barber at 5'6", Darius Davis at 5'9". I do want to ask Bruce a little bit about them, so if he can talk about those receivers and which one's his favorite, because I feel like he's always had a pretty good pulse on what to do with the TCU guys. And then Texas Tech on the flip side is just an absolute mess. I just don't know what to do with these receivers. I don't want to really put one in as a run back just because I don't want to play the guessing game. And we don't know what to do with like the running backs at times. Quarterback is a mess. So for me, it's really just maybe playing the TCU side. And if you don't want to mess with that pass game, Kendrick Miller's a perfectly fine play that you can go to at running back, who's going to be an interesting one to get exposure to. But overall, it's a good game, but it's not one that I'm dying to get to.
Bruce, sorry.
Oh, you're good. So yeah, Kendrick Miller's a solid play for me today. I just, man, it's just so bad that they only give him 12 carries last week. He averages 10 yards a carry, gets 120 yards. I just don't know why they don't feed him. They've been working DeMarcado in as well. I think he got 34% of the snaps last week. So yeah, I like Miller, but again, his upside is capped just because they don't give him the ball. That was a close game. It was 41-31. So I just don't get it. Yeah,
it's Sonny Dykes' way. He doesn't run the football.
Yeah, drives me crazy. Should have smashed. Should have had 200 yards last week. So, yeah, the Texas Tech receiver situation is a mess. It's just all over the place. You never know. Like last week, Xavier White was in a smash spot, got 28% of the snaps. It's just all over the place. I like a guy like Bradley. His snaps are kind of consistent. Cleveland as well. TCU receivers, you have Quentin Johnston. He did get banged up last week, so kind of explains his poor performance. Something to watch out for today.
He was a hero and came back though, Bruce. Like
yes,
he came back into the game. He caught a touchdown, so at least give him credit for battling.
Yeah, and with those ankle injuries, they usually tell you don't take your shoe off, at least in basketball. So maybe that's one of those things to watch out for. Maybe this week it's a little worse than it was last week. So yeah, he's a solid play as long as he's healthy. Darius Davis would probably be my two. I love Tay Barber, but his target share is like 12% or something the last 4 weeks. It's just way down. Davis is about 16%, so it's not that great. But I love Duggan today, and the TCU or Texas Tech quarterback situation is a mess. So I'm pretty much staying away from that.
Big T, anything in this game?
Yeah, so I like this Xavier White. I know a lot of people don't trust the situation, but 3 straight games. I know he had a bad week last week, but Baylor's got a good defense. The 3 weeks before that, 8 catches, 9 catches, 20+ fantasy points all 3 weeks. I think it's actually a very, very good spot for him, especially if you're playing the TCU side. I think he's a perfect run back at 4,900, and I like our boy, whatever we call him, S-Rod. I always call him S-Rod. I don't know if that's what because he should catch the ball. He's only 4,900 is that key part. You get a little bit cheaper of a price point, and I think you could actually play both of them with Morton. So I don't know. I think I feel more confident about this game than other people. Huge total. I think Morton is definitely the guy. They brought in the one dude. Oh God, that dude sucks. What's his name? Shuck. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. He's awful. Like they brought him in for what? 2 passes. He got a negative. What did he fumble and throw a pick?
Interception. Yeah.
Throw a pick. Like the dude just sucks. So I think Morton's actually just locked into that spot. And other people want more security than me. I'm okay with kind of rolling the dice. If something happens, it happens just because of the upside. I mean, a 70 total. This game could just absolutely shoot out. And that's all I care about, really. So I like those 3 on the Tech side. And then the TCU side is super easy. Dugan, Quentin Johnston. I'm a little worried about the ankle too, like Bruce said. But Kendrick Miller, you can play. And I always include Tay Barber in my stuff. I mean, even last week, 99 yards, caught a bomb, 20 fantasy points. He just has those games. Again, kind of like I just talked about with taking risk. But I don't worry about the risk as much because he's going to be 1% owned. And if he houses a couple deep ones, you break the slate. And this game's just a perfect game stack. So I will definitely have at least one stack of this game.
All right, cool. And Bruce, you kind of got your words in on this one, or you want to say anything else?
No, that's pretty much all of it.
Bruce, can we do some digging on the chain stuff? Some people are
Sure.
saying he's out. I think it's because of the 24/7 boards. There's something there. I don't know if you want to touch on that a little more. But this obviously could be massive news. It seems like there's like a lot of smoke here.
So it's just a post from a user there that's pretty tied in with the program. So, it's just something to watch out for pregame. I'm sure they usually have pretty good reports from the field. So I'm sure we'll hear something, especially if it's the flu. They don't want people, they don't want the players around. So hopefully we get that news pregame.
I'll tell you what, some of this stuff in hindsight does make sense. I mean, when you look at how these two teams break apart, like Florida's defense against the healthy A&M offense should be a 7-point plus dog. The fact that it's 3 and it's been 3 all week, I think it says a lot. Potentially what's about to happen as far as news goes. All right. So Virginia, North Carolina. So this game expects to be somewhat popular in these DFS streets. Obviously, we finally get a main slate with Drake May. Kid's an absolute stud. And you pair him up with Mac Brown offensively, and just a lot of good stuff that's happened. Josh Downs, one of the better receivers in D1, finally makes his way also into the main slate. Yeah, I mean, the only issue, of course, is, and we said this last week with Bo Nix, and of course, Bo Nix absolutely rocked the slate, as he seemingly does every single week now. What did he go for 55 last week? What a joke. So yeah, Drake May's in a similar spot.
Old enough to remember when the number 7 player in the world, college, recommended him at like 5,600, and the donkey Big T made fun of him for it. I'm old enough to remember that week.
There's 1 week luck box.
Think about back though. That's how crazy the college world is. Dude was 5,600 or something like that. 5,600. I made fun of you for playing him. What if he was 5,600? He would be more mispriced than anybody we've ever seen.
Yeah, it was. Obviously weeks like that aren't going to happen often, but it was nice. 5,500.
Mangone, you hear him? Obviously, weeks like that aren't going to happen very often.
I mean, that's why Dunk was the number 7 college football player in the world.
Oh God.
Anyway, we move on. Drake May finds his way, as mentioned, into the main slate, which is good. Matchup's not ideal. Virginia, under this new regime, does not play the same type of offense they did last year. And it's like we say all the time, right? Like, your quarterback is really a product of the system he's in, not as so much relative to his talent. We're seeing it with Bo Nix. We're seeing it with Hendon Hooker transfers. And now Brandon Armstrong, who was an absolute stud last year under Mendenhall, now it doesn't look like the same player. Now, granted, we could talk on the O-line, we could talk on this. Doesn't matter. Schematically, it's a different offense. And yeah, they're still throwing the ball like they were, but Armstrong's not running like he was. And here's what I don't get. Like, they overprice Armstrong in this spot. A guy like Armstrong in a matchup like this is somebody I always play. They overprice him in this spot and way underprice other players. I just don't understand it. Like, I wish there was some means to it, because at $7K, Armstrong just really lacks the upside to really find his way into your lineups. At $6K, to me, it would have been a borderline lock for me. 71 makes it tougher to play him and feel good about it. The good part of playing a guy like Armstrong is he's an easy pair up. He's got easy weapons to pair with. Thompson, Wicks, could even maybe go Davis. Just makes it easy, and the run back is easy as well. So I'm not totally against it. And I will have a stack here: Virginia, run back North Carolina. I will have North Carolina stacks, run back with Virginia. But again, North Carolina, you get a high price quarterback on the road. It's just over time, these spots typically don't make it for you. But 8,200 still feels like he's underpriced. So definitely going to have a lot of Drake May. If he lets me down, he lets me down. But the only way I think he lets you down is if Virginia's offense does nothing today, which is possible. But if North Carolina is tempted to score, they should. So yeah, options all over the place in this game. I don't like the running backs, though. I guess you could make a claim for certain players, but I don't think it makes sense to play any of these guys. The wide receivers, though, should be scattered in terms of ownership, should see ownership throughout. A lot of good plays here, quarterback, wide receivers. So I've spoken enough. Big T, is this a game you're going to be low weight on, high weight on? How are you approaching this game?
Yeah, this dusty ass Brendan Armstrong that I made fun of all of last year. This guy was so bad last year too, but he got there some games just because of the offense. Now he loses his coordinator. I don't know. I mean, North Carolina's defense is terrible, though. Like, make no mistake about it. So this could be a week. I read something somewhere in one of the Discords or somewhere, I forget where, but they said KT might be out, this Thompson. If he was somehow out, like Wicks would be, man, he would be, he's still a really good play, I think, at 5,900. But I don't know, he would be like a lock. So I'm glad that a lot of these news that we're waiting on is early games. So we should have a decent amount in that hour leading up to lock. If you're in the Run Pure Discord, make sure to check that out. Xavier Brown at 3,200 has a decent projection. I don't mind him as a punt running back. Again, running backs loaded. I tend to build weird teams at times in tournaments, though, where you just play a weird running back like that. And if he gets you like 18 or something, you have a unique roster and you just can load up in other spots that other people can't do. So don't mind him. And then the Carolina side, I mean, just easy plays. Drake May just looks like a stud, down stud. I mean, these guys could just crush. Their price points are high. So, I mean, that's even what I was just talking about, the 3,200 running back. Play Drake May, Josh Downs. You could even play like Antoine Green, who's finally priced up, but has nuked slates. So you double stack it there, come back with the 3,200 running back. It kind of fits nicely in a spot like this. But the Carolina side is just those three. I think they could just totally crush, though. So kind of like Dunkel said, it depends on if Virginia can keep the pace, which I think they can, just because Carolina, their defense is terrible.
Yeah, and then Mangone, what about you? You like this game?
Yeah, we are talking about which.
Oh no, man!
UNC and UV. UNC.
We've been arm in arm all day. No.
Well, I mean, I was reading the chat. I mean, people were talking bad about Big T, and I was trying to have your back. They said Big T sounds Big T sounds like he doesn't want to be on the show and hasn't been here since 3 a.m. No, he's grinding. He's ready to rock today. So stop going at my guy, Big T. But this is a game I like. Drake May is definitely going to be someone that I'm.
Why do I sound like I don't want to be here anyways? Who said that? I've been excited the whole show.
Sounds fired up to me.
Shark Killer G.
Yeah.
Big T sounds like he just woke up at 3 a.m. and is like, can we just get
That's
this?
a bad take.
This is why Mangone is so sharp. Mangone is being attacked by Big T. And what does he do? He finds a negative comment, and he defends Big T in that way. Get it right and turn defense into offense real quick. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had a lot of practice when I was at Big T's not too long ago, so it helped me out. But I do want to talk about this game because I like Drake May a lot. Dunkel, I know this doesn't matter at all, but the new Drake came out, so why not play Drake May on Saturday, right? That's got to be great correlation there. It all makes sense. But Drake May's one of the best quarterback plays on the slate. The question is, do you think it's worth spending up on him, and how do you pair him up? Because if you play him and you play Josh Downs, well, you start running out of money, right? It's just not that easy to. I see he's in your core, Dunkel, Drake May, and you got a receiver paired up with him. So not going to give away any more of your core plays, but Drake May is someone that I like too. I'm likely going to have in my core. Just got to figure out which receiver I'd like to pair up with him. That seems like something that you want to make sure you do against this Virginia team. The run back is where it gets tough. Do you want to play an Armstrong? If Thompson plays, he could be an interesting way to get exposure to the game or through Wicks, like Big T talked about. So overall, this is definitely going to be a really good game to target. You want to look at Drake May, one of these receivers. And I don't think you need the Virginia run back necessarily, but it's nice to have it in there. And I agree with the take that you had on Armstrong. He feels a little priced up. My one problem is I might just go up and try and just grab Max Duggan instead. Yes, there's a big difference in $1,400, but I do think that like $7,000 range at quarterback, I think it's kind of a dead zone where a lot of people are either going to go up to the high 8s or down to the low 6s or high 5s. And what's naturally going to happen is that's going to create a dead zone at that spot.
Fair enough. Bruce, thoughts on this one?
I'm with you. I think UNC is in a great spot. It's crazy to look at who quarterbacks that Virginia has faced: Illinois, Old Dominion, Syracuse, Duke, Louisville. That was their backup, Louisville's backup, Georgia Tech's backup, and Miami's backup. So they really haven't faced a good quarterback this season. And Drake May is just in a perfect spot. He runs too, so I love it. I think Elijah Green is actually a great play for UNC. Got got 61% of the snaps last week. Is only 5,300, 5.2 yards after contact per attempt. He doesn't. They don't run the football enough for him to be like, for him to absolutely smash. But he can get there for sure at that price. I love Antoine Green. Average depth of target for him is 21 yards. So just a big play waiting to happen. Josh Downs, as always. All cast man, Keaton Thompson is a solid play too if he goes. I hadn't heard any of the injury stuff, so maybe it's just not out yet. Wicks as well, just in a great spot. I love this game. The pace is crazy. I think both teams are top 50, top 30 actually. So it's just a great spot. Love everything about it. Armstrong hasn't had any big weeks this year yet, but UNC defense is sometimes a cure for that.
Love it. Let's move on to the next one. This should be a quick one. Nebraska, Minnesota. I know I've been doing you guys a disservice. I haven't been talking on team total projections. Looking at 29.5 for Minnesota here. Nebraska 15. Some clear advantages, which it goes without saying. I mean, Minnesota running the football today is going to be a clear advantage. And I'm not saying this because they have Ibrahim. I'm saying this because Nebraska's giving up 4.7 yards per carry, which puts them below the median for sure in college football D1, and Minnesota's 4.8 per carry offensively. So yeah, Ibrahim's going to be a great play. And you guys were 100% right. Like, even though Potts was back, Ibrahim was getting everything last week. So it's hard to imagine that doesn't continue to happen. 7,300, another guy that's still underpriced. Figure his floor today is probably 130 yards, 120 yards and a TD, assuming he stays healthy. That's likely his floor, as almost silly as that might sound. And again, that assumes he stays healthy. On the Nebraska end, it is very difficult to get up to for any of these folks. Thompson might not play, or he may have already ruled out. Grant looks like he's out as well. This could be a day where, if Palmer was low owned last week, he could get a bunch of targets today and nobody's going to play him. But again, man, last week had to have left a bad taste in folks' mouths on Palmer, which is a good thing in DFS, right? Because nobody's going to click his button. His price is a little cheaper. Matchup is not great, but it is a game Nebraska should be trailing. It is a game where I'd be shocked if he had less than double-digit targets, especially after they basically thought he was invisible last week. Big T, your boy, you playing him at all today? Obviously, Ibrahim's in play, but Palmer, you going back to him at all?
Man, talk about the sour taste. I talked him up hard. I've been on a good run on these shows where I take a huge stand on guys and they come through for me. He did not come through. That was that was painful because I had a lot of good teams too. There was a ton of teams that I had climbing the charts, and I had him in every one of those teams with this friggin' 1-point game. Total disastrous call. I had people making fun of me on Twitter. It's all right. I can take it. Man, I struggle to come back just because of how slow Minnesota plays, but I do agree. Like, no one's going to play him. He's been amazing all year except last week. So he should, in theory, bounce back. I don't know if I can click it myself, but I'll leave him in my pool. If he hits, he hits. Mo Ibrahim, though, 38 carries or whatever he got again last week, going against Nebraska. Really tough to not play him.
Agree there. Mango, what about you?
Anyone who is making fun of Big Anthony 44 on Twitter, send him over to me. Okay, I'll make sure to take care of him for you, Big T. But
it would have been a tough defense last week with the 1 point. He would have had a tough job.
It's true. It's like my golf game. It's hard to defend it,
Sometimes you just got to take the L and move on.
Of course. So this game is one Mo Ibrahim, right? That's the guy. That's the guy that I think I'm just locking myself into. I mean, I was already going to lock myself into it probably before a chain news that could be coming. Just seems like a guy just to play on all your teams and move on. It's just too good of a spot. It's big corn. AP and Snyder are going to get ran all over. Sorry, AP and Snyder. It's not going to go well for you guys. That does make the run back of Trey Palmer. Like, it definitely could make some sense here in this spot. My problem is I just don't know if I'm able to get there with all these other receivers that I'm looking at today. So overall, that's like one thing that I'm kind of taking into account. I think it's just Ibrahim or bust for me in this game.
All right, fair enough. Bruce, this game, I don't think he gave us.
Yeah, same as Mangone. Just Ibrahim, and that's it.
All right, cool. Real quick, let's do a quick like check. Where are we at? 126, 512 of you watching. I mean, what are we doing, folks? It's not hard to like the video. Obviously, giving you a bunch of good content here from three goats, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride. Just go ahead and like the video. It's not hard. Not hard. Just like I'll do a little demonstration, right? Could even do it between tabs. Doesn't really matter. It's actually a lot simpler than people think. Not splitting atoms here. All right. So next game up, Northwestern, Ohio State. So this is an interesting game for a few reasons. So Northwestern is obviously not. I'm not as concerned on that side. I don't think anybody will be. But on the Ohio State side, we already talked on the injury news with Henderson, a surprise scratch this morning, and Maya Williams looks like he's going to play, but that's still not 100% yet. The running back Dallin Hayden, excuse me, 4K, likely going to be pretty popular, all things considered, at a position where upside is loaded on this slate. Now, the problem with Hayden is you play him, you're more or less going to need 20 from him, in my opinion, because there are just so many running backs there that can get you 30 plus. I don't know if Hayden has that type of upside today, but I guess the game could fall right for him. It's going to likely be a blowout. On the other end, so, obviously no Smith Njigba here. So it's going to be the Harrison and I always pronounce the other guy's name wrong, but Ebuka.
Yeah,
and obviously Josh Fleming, who always feels like the odd man out. Bruce, I'll start with you. How are you approaching this game? Obviously, the running back for Ohio State. Are you playing any Maya Williams? Assuming he plays and looks like he's going to start playing any Maya Williams.
No. He was in a sling last week. I'm just going to stay away and hope and pray for Hayden to get the majority of the carries. The total on this one is the big thing. It's come down from 61.5 earlier in the week to 55. So the wind is crazy there. I saw 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So just a little scary there. But the wide receivers are talented. If they can get the football, Harrison Jr., Egbuka, Fleming, all in great spots. Maybe a Malik Washington run back, 4,600. Dude's been getting fed the ball, so in a trailing script, it's not horrible. Tate Stover, also the tight end, has been crushing. So he's not horrible, but yeah, mostly just sticking with the running backs this one and going from there.
It's bad when you're asking Bruce who he likes, and his description of every player is he's not horrible. Big T, how about you? Obviously, the Ohio State side's interesting. I assume nothing on the Northwestern side, but what are you doing with Ohio State?
Yeah, pretty windy there, and I mean, just a massive spread. So I'm not going to the passing game for sure. The prices are high. Obviously, some of them are going to do some damage because, I mean, they're just too good. They're going to get easy points, but I'm not going to play them. I'm going to have a hard time not playing this Hayden guy, though, because I mean, Mayan, like Bruce said, in a sling last week, massive spread, easy win. I don't see why they wouldn't just give this dude work, even if it means just the second half work. I mean, a whole second half against this defense at 4K. I don't think he's going to be owned either because of how good running back is. I might just click the lock button, depending on what happens with the Texas A&M news. There's obviously huge elephant in the room with that, with all the injury stuff that we got to see in the Discord, but I might just click this Hayden dude, 4K. I don't see how he doesn't crush in this spot. They don't have anyone out. They got the one dude that's not in the player pool, but I think it's Hayden. Just from looking at it, just my feel of it, I think it's him. So I wouldn't be shocked if they don't even play Mayan. That wouldn't totally shock me with the sling last week if they just played this guy in a blowout spot. So I am definitely on him at 4K. And yeah, I mean, look, we're talking about it in the Discord, but kind of what I talked about with those Virginia receivers, I read something that they were going to be out, and it looks like Billy Kemp's working with the ones, and we got to watch the news for that too, because I already didn't like Armstrong, but man, if all those receivers are out too, that changes my perspective of that game, because I just don't know how Virginia is going to move the ball if a couple of those guys are out.
That's bad.
3,300 Billy Kemp season.
Is that how much Billy Kemp is, really?
Yeah,
3,300? Yeah. Well, I would definitely like that at 3,300 if those guys are out. You would almost say he was good last year.
He was for sure.
Carolina's D sucks, but I mean, if those guys are out, I really
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked if Virginia just throws a total stinker in there.
Destroyed. Yeah, that's a lot to be missing. Yeah. It's
And they
rough.
sucked with those guys. I mean,
Well,
they haven't
yeah.
been that good with them.
Do you have the exact list of who's out or who looks like they're going to be out right now?
It's just Fields running with the ones. They said that expectation was that they would be available for the game, but if the younger receivers are warming up with Brennan as they are, I don't expect the receivers to get all the snaps they have in the past. So
right now, just Fields looks like he's out, but it could wind up being more news. There's
yeah. Supposedly this Malachi Fields guy that's 3K is a stud. So he's supposedly going to get more snaps. Hasn't played this year because of injury, but there's probably going to be some value in that game with the receivers.
All right, yeah. So we'll have to see that. Mangone, did I get your take on this game yet?
No, you did not, and no one has said. No one's talked about the weather in this game. I mean, it's big time.
First of all, the host, can you correct him who talked about the weather when he said no one did?
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. You know what, Mangone, we're skipping this rotation. We're moving the next game.
Yeah, I mean, that was terrible introduction there. I mean, just flat out called when it was the first thing I said.
Yeah, Mangone stands in the soapbox, goes, these idiots didn't talk on weather, so
He's
I'm
like,
on weather.
he goes back to the chat. He's like, this dude in the chat was calling Big T out. And I had to defend him.
There are some brutal comments about Big T in the chat for sure. Shark is still going at Big T. I mean,
Talk to us about weather here, Mangone.
Yeah, I mean, because of the weather, like obviously it's going to be important to like run the ball a little bit more, right? I mean, it could hit like 40 to 50 mile per hour winds throughout the game. So like I am in agreement on the Hayden thing. Gonna probably load up on him. And like because the top end receivers are so good, nothing against Harrison Jr. or Buka, but I just might be a little bit lower on them compared to some of these other guys up top. So I think overall that might kind of shift me away from some of these Ohio State receivers that I was looking to play possibly today. Nothing against them. I think they're fine, but I just think there's other receivers up top that I might go to now and kind of interested in. So that's kind of where I'm at. Just looking to play that running back, and then kind of, I think, just move on from this game. That's my current thought process.
Fair enough. Everybody had a take in this game, right? We can move on.
Just one more about Billy Kemp. Like with him working with the ones, I didn't realize he was 3,300. Like he just has to be, assuming the news that we're seeing is correct, which it looks correct. Obviously, get in the Discord and make sure for final. But 3,300. I mean, we need value. Like, I don't see how you're not going to play that guy at 3,300.
I'd argue, as silly as it might sound now, and granted, I'll have to change my player pool as we go with all these crazy injuries. But like at 3,300, if he's legitimately working with the ones and expected to see like an 80% snap, I don't know, how do you not lock him in at 3,300?
First Carolina too. I mean, I just don't. I don't see how he doesn't get there.
Makes your Drake May and Josh Downs stacks easy to just have a nice little run back.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying, okay, so I assume this is what you guys are seeing. Billy Kemp's the only experienced receiver catching balls. So like these top guys all look like they're going to be out, which is crazy if that's the case.
Yeah, there's a tweet that someone just posted in the Discord.
It's like if me, Bruce, and Big T weren't on the show, they'd be like, Dunkel's the only experienced college football expert here on the show today.
What were you going to say, Bruce?
VIP just posted a tweet in the Discord that says Sean Wilson technically started last week and Demick Starling has played a lot this year. So those are two other names other than Kemp to look out for.
Wow. Interesting stuff nonetheless. All right, let's move on to Tulsa, Tulane. We'll try to speed through this so we can all have a little extra time to kind of navigate through these injuries after the show. Tulsa, Tulane, looking at implied totals here. 32 for Tulane, 24.5 Tulsa. Tulane is like, dare I say, good. I mean, I know they're like mid-major good, but if you watch this team, like they're actually like pretty good in various ways. They run the football really well. Got a pretty smart quarterback, mobile quarterback. They got decent weapons. They spread the wealth all around. Tulsa's a little different, but either way, this game has some potential goodness. But again, it's a game where they overprice these dudes. And I just don't get it. This would be a game that I would like to target if the prices were right, but they're not. You could go with a guy like Tajay Spears, who has a tremendous amount of upside, who will go under owned today for sure. Even a guy like Michael Pratt, 6,300. I assume he has a good projection. I don't know. I don't look at all the projections. But it's a good spot for him. It is a road quarterback though, so keep that in mind. Tulsa has some shaking or some shakiness at quarterback today, but they do have good receiver studs. Again, they're just a little overpriced. Mangone, I'll kick it to you for this game. A bit of an interesting game on these main slates, as these two teams aren't often in them. How you approaching this one?
Yeah, this is tough because I think you want to like look at Pratt. I think he's fine, but I'm not like dying to get to him is one of the problems. Like I typically like these like quarterbacks that can run a little bit, but I don't know. I just don't know if I'm going to get the Pratt as much as I thought I was. I love to dive into this 6 and 5K range, but the more this slate is breaking down, we are gaining some value at the running back and receiver position where I think I'm able just to go up at my quarterbacks more. So I don't think I'm going to get the Pratt as much as I thought. I think Tajay Spears is kind of interesting. I'll definitely look at him at the running back position, mix and match him throughout my lineups. I do want to talk about Stokes. He is 7.3K. Should not be ignored on this slate. We know what his upside can be. He's going to be virtually unknown. He feels like a guy just to mix and match throughout your lineups. Like when you're kind of building, like, let's say you're playing 150, let's say you're playing like a 20 max. Put him in the pool. Don't necessarily jam him in there, but see if you get exposure to him. He could be one of those unique combos that could take you to the top of the leaderboard. So you could easily do like a Spears and a Stokes like mini stack, which would be nice. But that's really all I'm getting to here in this game. Not looking to like play like the quarterbacks as much and like load up on like, run backs and some of these guys. It's just mainly Stokes and then Spears.
Cool. What about you, Bruce?
I like this game just on the initial look, but I think Tulsa is going to have a little bit of trouble scoring points on this Tulane defense. The running back situation is terrible on the Tulsa side, so pretty much staying away from that. Spears is a solid running back, and Tulsa has had issues with the run, so I don't hate him. And Pratt as well. He can run for some yards in this one and pass. I think he's probably one of the most underrated running quarterbacks on this slate. The wide receivers, Stokes, Santana, both over 28% target share last 4 weeks. So that's definitely in play. Just because they should be trailing in this one. I think Tulane was the top rated group of 5 team in the playoff rankings. So they're a really good team. They beat Kansas State, held them down on offense. So it's just tough matchup for Tulsa in this one. But the two high priced wide receivers are in play for me.
Big T, what about you?
Yeah, this one's simple. Speed it up. Spears for me, running back. I like him, and then Stokes. If you can get up to him, I don't mind him low on too. But I'm not playing the quarterback. Not playing anything else in this game.
Mangone, what do you like in this game? Anything?
Didn't I talk about this game?
Was it? Did I start with you? All three? We're all good. All three of us.
Get back on him. Get back on him, Travis. You're allowed to get back on him.
It sounds like you want me to keep talking about Tulane and Tulsa. I mean, I talked about this game, Dunkel.
Dunkel's like, we got to really speed this up. We got a lot of news in the Discord. He's like, man, can you talk twice about Tulsa, Tulane?
Yeah, next thing you know, he's going to go to Baylor, Oklahoma and be like, yeah, Mangone's got nothing on this. Let's go to Bruce and Big T.
All right. So Oklahoma, Baylor, as Mangone hinted at. Interesting thing of note, they finally started to bring these prices down for some of these Oklahoma players, with the exception of, even Eric Gray's price is down. So decent spot for Oklahoma offensively. I know Baylor's defense is okay, but obviously Oklahoma is another animal when they are moving right. Marvin Mims 69 is one of the lower prices. He's been on DK most of the year. FanDuel's done a good job with his pricing, keeping him lower and lower as he's struggled. But good price for him. And then even Willis still 4,200, feels underpriced. Dylan Gabriel, I think this is the lowest price he's been all year. He's home. It's a good spot for Gabriel, sneaky. So yeah, I'm going to have some Gabriel today just because, quarterbacks like him, I typically, they drop into certain price ranges for me and they become in play. Gabriel is not a guy I play on a given week, but this price makes sense. So yeah, and it's an easy run back. You play Reese on the other side. Whether you pair Gabriel with Mims, you go Gabriel solo, or you play him with Willis. Either way, it's how you approach the game. Reese, running back, I'm not sure what his ownership's projected at, but he is in a really good spot in this game. He's getting a ton of volume. We could talk on the other running back for Baylor at 3,300, 3,400, but man, it just feels like Reese is getting almost all the touches and just barely getting spelled now. Big T, what's your thoughts on this game and maybe thoughts on Oklahoma?
Yeah, Oklahoma's. I'm done with them for the year for sure. They're awful. Reese, Reese is the man for me in this game. I played the other guy, maybe last week or the week before, the cheaper guy, and I was just tilted the entire game as Reese just kept shoving. And he just looks like the guy. Oklahoma's D's bad. I don't understand why Oklahoma's favored in this game. They should not be favored. Baylor will win this football game. Oklahoma sucks. Give me. I want Reese. No one else.
All right, Bruce, what about you?
Yeah, I think Reese is still a solid play. They did say the coach came out this week and said they're going to ease up on his workload. So and said that the team will try to emphasize a run by committee with Quaylen Jones. So I know that's tilting. So yeah, I think he's a solid play. He's gonna have some ownership for sure. A guy a lot of people aren't going to play is the quarterback for Baylor, Blake Shapen at 6,100, just because there's so many other quarterbacks in that range. Maybe if you don't play the running backs, you can look to him. He does run a little bit as well. We saw Duggan run all over Oklahoma, so he's definitely in play. Someone I look for GPPs. I don't mind Quaylen Jones again. It is tilting when you get down to the red zone and don't give them the ball. So that's a little scary. But Oklahoma. Someone I'm a little interested in his injury situation is Eric Gray. He did get banged up last week and was in and out of the game. Just hobbled off a couple times. So maybe if he doesn't play, like a guy like Marcus Major or Javante Barnes, if they go there and play, they're under 6K. So not horrible. Gavin Holmes is interesting for Baylor, especially if Baldwin is out again. He missed last week. So he's interesting. Big play guy. 3.4 yards per route run has to be close to top on the slate. Has 3 touchdowns. That's pretty much it.
All right, cool. Travis, how about you? Liking this game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be the Dunkel of this show in the Print Factory, where I just keep it short and sweet. If you haven't checked out the Print Factory show, it's free this week with Big T, ODB, JSU, and Uncle Dunkel. But Reese or bust for me. That's it. We're just gonna only play him and then just move on from this game.
All right.
This Texas A&M situation is a total disaster.
It is.
I changed my mind about the price of him. I don't like it anymore.
Is it? Did he come out? Did he just pull the WWE? Just out of the tunnel?
Yeah, but he's not even fully in still though. It's just it's gross. He literally could break the slate or he could not play, and he's the most mispriced guy. Just a total disaster. I'm dreading it already.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, in a positive light, we'll talk on your favorite game here, Big T. Georgia, Tennessee. Tennessee has stuck it up my ass quite a bit this year. It's obviously an incredibly talented squad, and Heupel's done a tremendous job with this group, and Hooker and Hyatt, and obviously Tillman's back today, and their running game is underrated. I mean, I know that they don't, from a yards per carry standpoint, they're actually quite terrible, but it's really just because they throw the ball so much. Interesting test for them today, though, obviously going up against Georgia. And for those that forget, for those that think Oregon is having some dominant year in the Pac-12, Georgia beat Oregon 49-3 week 1. So interesting to see how Tennessee matches up with this team. Ton of speed on Tennessee's end, ton of talent on Tennessee's end. So we'll see how and Georgia's defense getting healthier and healthier as the season goes on. Interesting spot though. All things considered, the pricing, they didn't really bring it down for Tennessee despite a tougher matchup. But look, we know this offense hums and both teams. And Georgia, while they get a lot of accolades on their defense, from a yards per play standpoint, this team is top 5 in the league every year. They will drain a team defensively just as good as any other team. They're just not as explosive. They're more consistent. Tennessee, of course, is explosive. Big T, on your end, what are you doing today? How much Hooker? How much Hyatt? These two look like studs. Obviously, a much elevation of talent defensively that they'll be seeing today. How you approaching this one?
Yeah, I always want to play Georgia when they're tested. This has been the same way in the SEC since I've played DFS college. When these teams, Bama in past years, when these teams get pushed, even though the matchup's tougher, I always want to jam it, and no one's going to play guys in this game besides a little sprinkle. It's just the best game. These teams are going to score on each other. I'm not even worried about the Georgia D. I'm glad people are. Tennessee's going to move the ball. Tillman got back last week. They're going to move the ball on Georgia, and they're going to be in good shape and low ownership. You can play hooker now he's got all three guys back, and their running backs are good. Georgia, this team's going to score. I think they're going to win the football game over Georgia. I've picked them all year. I just think they're way better than people think, even though they're the number one team right now in the rankings. So I think they make a statement today and get the job done, but it's even easier because you can play hooker and one or two of these receivers. All three of them are in play. Hyatt, Tillman, Brew. I think Tillman's my favorite, though. He was a stud coming into the year, finally got back last week, and he's 6,100. That is just a misprice to me. I can't freaking wait to play Tennessee on own. These guys aren't going to be played, and I'm going to be all over it. And the Georgia side I like as well. Bowers might be the easiest play of the slate. 6,700 for Bowers. I mean, just a total free. I literally might just lock him. Just a total free square. Bennett, no one's going to play Stetson. No one ever does. I think you can play him too. I love this game. I think it's a 65 total that I think shoots out. I think if both teams score, I think this game goes totally nuts. And now to get even more creative, these other Georgia pieces are ugly, but I mean, they all have upside at their price points, and no one is going to play them. You can play this game with guys 1% owned. So we talk about Bowers, the tight end matchup versus Tennessee is great. What about the biggest dude I've seen out there, Darnell Washington, another tight end, 3,700 for some value. He hasn't really shown the upside. They haven't been pushed very hard. 3,700 for just an absolute monster in there that's going to be 1% owned. So sign me up for this game. I absolutely love it. And for me, I think you could play Bowers and Washington together. No one's going to play Washington. That's my sneakiest play of the day. I absolutely love him at 3,700. And now with all these other value guys open up, just people aren't going to play this game. They're going to play Drake May, which I like, but what if Virginia just sucks? What if that game is 27-3 and everything busts in that game? We're going to get the two best teams or two of the top 5 teams in the country, totally unowned, going up and down the field. Sign me up.
Love it. Bruce, same sentiment. We're big on Tennessee. What are you doing with Georgia?
Yeah, I think Bowers is probably one of the better plays of the day. If you look at the tight ends, like good tight ends against Tennessee. So I posted this in the Discord. Bartholomew for Pittsburgh went 5 for 84 and a touchdown. Zipper for Florida went 4 for 68 and a touchdown. Cam Latu for Bama went 6 for 90 and a touchdown. Jeremy Dingle last week, I don't even know who that is, went 4 for 44 for Kentucky. So I just think Bowers is in a great spot here. I do like Tillman as well. That price 6,100 is just, I think it's 1K too cheap. Should get more time this week. Looked okay last week. I think he's a great play. Hyatt 14 touchdowns on the year. Good Georgia secondary, but just this Tennessee offense is just different. Running backs, want to stay away from Georgia's running backs. It's just a mess. No one's going to play the quarterbacks in this game, so they're both in play in GPPs for sure. Hooker and Stetson Bennett are just should just have a field day, I think. So I love this game stack for sure.
All right, Mango, what about you?
Yep, definitely going to be in on this game. I love Bowers. He's going to be a good run back option. If you do play Hooker, obviously the 3, set a rule, right? I don't think you want to play him by himself. I think you want to kind of group it together with Tillman, Hyatt, or Brew. So I think that's the right way to go about that. No one's talked about the run game. I obviously understand there's reasons why you don't want to really talk about the Tennessee run game. But, I mean, Jabari Small at 6'3", he could easily have a big game. And he's going to be not owned at all. And if you're doing a game stack, just don't completely ignore it. Don't just be like, oh, Hooker and the receivers. I would at least, have Small sprinkled in. Don't completely ignore him here on this slate. I do like Big T's call on the Washington thing. That can help give you a little bit of value, but obviously love Bowers. Think he's a pretty good play. And then to mention McIntosh, I don't think I'm going to end up getting there just because I just think there's other running backs I'd rather get to instead. So overall, good game to go to. Want to get some exposure stacking wise, and you don't have to do that much to get the overweight on it, right? If you like build like 20 teams, you don't need to have like 10 of these stacks. You can easily play just a couple, and you'll be able to definitely get way overweight, I think, on this game.
All right, cool. Slide over to the next one. Another pretty decently big game, Colorado, Oregon. Obviously not on the Colorado side, but Oregon likely has a player or two that smash the slate in this spot, whether you want to just ride the Knicks train or whether you want to play these running backs for Oregon. I will tell you this, with all these extra price savings we're getting, I think that the running backs for Oregon are going to go practically unowned. And before all these injuries happened, I was actually pretty overweight on these guys. I know that Bo Nix has been a touchdown hog at the goal line. But I don't, against Colorado, how much are they really looking to really get him banged up in this spot? But with that said, Bo Nix has just been super good. I think that all these, along with what I've been saying, I think all these injuries are going to add to more people playing Bo Nix, because he's just like a safe, like what's his floor, 30? I mean, it's week in and week out, the guy just consistently is a stud. And granted, the numbers are a little padded because he just continues to get so many rushing touchdowns. But yeah, I'm going to be overweight on this game for sure on the Oregon side, undoubted. I like Hudson as well from a pass catcher perspective to pair him with. Mangone, what about you? This game, Bo Nix, the running backs, anything you're going to be overweight on, underweight on?
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix, week in and week out a stud. Uncle Dunkel, week in and week out a stud. I mean, you guys are just arm in arm, you and Bo Nix. So Bo Nix will probably get the job done today. He's playing in Colorado, which I considered going to this game just to see this Oregon team play up in the Boulder area, but it'd be an absolute blowout. So think they're going to put a big score up. You brought up good points with value coming in. That's going to allow us to grab Bo Nix more, which I think makes a lot of sense. And those running backs will go unowned, and they have a really bad run game, Colorado. So if you want to get really different, you could easily take some shots on guys there. Just got to play that roulette, which I don't know if I feel like doing personally. If you want to play it, go right ahead. I'm not really going to look at many of the other Oregon receivers. It's really just simply, hey, if I have some salary for Bo Nix, it makes some sense. Like I'll keep him in the pool when I run everything, but I'm not going to sit there and just be like, I need to get like 30% or something like that. It's not something I'm going to jam in there, but if the salaries fit, it gives me some Bo Nix, I won't hate it.
All right, cool. Bruce, what are you looking like here?
Yeah, this is a going to be a blowout for sure. So I like Nix a little bit. I just think he just steals all the goal line action, as you said. I think he still does it this game just because he's Bo Nix. He's a touchdown bully. So I don't mind a guy like Whittington who's really cheap, 4,400 for him. If not playing one of the other cheap running backs, he seems pretty safe today. Been getting a lot of carries there, so, or 4,200, sorry. So I think that's a good play. Pretty much staying away from the rest of it, other than if you need a good cheap run back for Colorado. I know their passing game is a mess, but they have a guy from Texas. What's his name? Jordan Tyson. 25% target share last 4 games. Just a really good value at 3,900 if you need it.
Cool. Big T, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, this is the tougher spot just because Colorado is so freaking bad and Bo Nix has been so freaking good. 9,600. Last week I didn't even like him, but he gets 50 again. I mean, they were up 30 points and he's in there running like bootlegs and stuff. So, I mean, they want him to get the Heisman, I think. And I don't know. I don't know what to do with him. Like, if I had a perfect team or something and he just fit, I mean, for a fact, there's not many guys that for a fact are going to get 30 plus. And yeah, you want more, you want 40 or 50 at this price, but I mean, there's something to be said for just getting 30 plus for a guy, especially with all the value we got now. So I'm torn. I don't think I'm going to play him, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if he just brings the pain again against this Colorado team with 150 and 3 or something. I don't know. I don't love this game. If I was going to play someone, it would be the running backs. This Whittington is pretty cheap, but again, we got value that's opened up. So not sure we need that. And again, we're still just watching the news in the Discord. Make sure you're in there. But the Virginia situation looks like those guys are not going to be in. So I think that we got to just proceed like that. And if we have to circle back, we circle back.
Mangone?
So they're in street clothes. So those guys are out. They just posted in our Discord. Wicks and Thompson both.
Are you
out.
asking about Oregon, Colorado again, Dunkel?
Oh no, you already spoke on it. Hate to see
Yeah,
it.
I spoke on it. I said I might go to I considered going to this game a while.
I heard you, Mangone.
Thank you, Anthony. And
Kansas-
Bruce is out here being a hero, answering Discord questions while he's on the show.
There's a lot going on today for the
there's a
people
lot.
while we're doing this free show. Click the like button.
Click the like. Kansas, Oklahoma State. Another pretty interesting matchup if Jalen Daniels is back. I don't know if we have any confirmation there. Based on the spread, you would think he's in today. Spread's seen quite a lot of movement, but it does say Jason Bean's still going to start, which I find extremely interesting, to be honest. Maybe it's more of maybe Spencer Sanders is going to be out. Like this line just is really weird to me.
Spencer Sanders might be out. That's like if so, Gundy's son is going to play.
So I'll tell you this: if Gundy's kid plays, that kid's got some wheels on him. And I know you're not going to love it, and he's 7,600, so it almost makes him unplayable. But like, it wouldn't surprise in the least. The dude rushes for 100, gets you the bonus there, makes this a game. This game shoots. It wouldn't be crazy at any means. This game's going to be absolutely unowned. And it's a late hammer, so you could modify things afterwards. I think this game should be something people keep in mind, especially with all this early injury news. But it's hard to really make a stand on this game, at least from my perspective now. I'm going to go to you last so that I don't forget this time. Big T, I'll start with you. This game, anything from it? I know you're not a Spencer Sanders guy, but it looks like he's going to be out anyway.
I mean, they've burned me all year. They finally just took some wood. I've been waiting for it, and it's coming because they overachieved so much. Finally, I listened to Mangone rub it in my face last week, like, oh, I've been pretty right about this team. He taunted me, and then the wood got served to Okie State finally. And yeah, I'm so glad that he's just going to sit out. This game's ugly. Two value guys. I know Bruce last week talked me into this Stephen Johnson. He wasn't great, but I think he's in play again at 3,700 just with those numbers that Bruce posted. DeAndre Jackson, too, 3,400 as long as the other guy's out. Again, I just don't know if we need the value anymore. There's just value guys out there, but they're in play. I'll leave them in my pool. If they hit, they hit. I don't hate them. I'm definitely fading Kansas, though. Kansas is very easy fades.
Bruce?
I think, the running back situation is the one that I am most interested in. If you watched Gundy last week, he did have some wheels, but there's a video out there of his hands shaking like crazy, taking his first step, looked like me about to touch my first boob in high school. So yeah, that's a little scary, but Kansas's defense is just horrible. So I love the running backs. DeAndre Jackson got 46% of the snaps last week, and he's 3,400. Jaden Nixon is 5,200. If he starts, he's in a solid spot. It's a Kansas defense is giving up 34 points per game to the running back spot. Just a bad defensive line. Wide receivers, you could look at someone like John Paul Richardson at 4,700. His role is just increasing every week. Johnson got 77% of the snaps last week, even though he failed. Kansas wide receivers in a trailing spot. There's rumors that a couple of them are out. So a guy like Trevor Wilson at 3K is interesting. He should see a boost in playing time. So just some injuries there to watch out for. But other than that, I'm just sticking with the running backs.
All right, man, going last but not least, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, the Gundy kid, I like a good runner, but he is 7'6". Who knows? Maybe I'll make an adjustment if we get the news right, but this is not really a game I'm looking to play too much.
His kid's 7,600.
It's expensive, man. Like that's the problem. Like you can play like Duggan, you can play Hooker, like you play all these guys. I just don't think I see myself getting there. We can just move on to I guess Syracuse and Pitt. Talk about a bandit conduct.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is obviously we're already running late on time. These three games collectively don't have any crazy studs, at least in my opinion. So for me, I'm going to combine three together. I'll give you a quick glimpse of all three in one shot. So Pitt, Syracuse, game figures to crawl. Two teams that do play better defense than offense. Obviously, you got two stud running backs on each side. Our friend Tucker really let us down last week. Not Tucker. Schrader really let us down last week. I think I was 60% owned on him in my lineups. So that was quite a bit of an ouchie for me with him going out. But Tucker is in a decent spot. I wouldn't consider it a great spot, but when I say decent spot, it's because of his price. 6,700 for him is just underpriced. Like I don't care the match. I'm way underpriced. And Abanaconda, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Maybe.
Should have listened to Travis. You haven't been listening to Travis today. He pronounced it perfectly.
Travis, tell us how.
It's a Bandaconda.
A Bandaconda. Okay.
Anaconda.
I don't think that's right. Doesn't seem like it is. But
It's like Anaconda, right? My Bandaconda don't. All right, just rolls off the tongue.
So a Bandaconda definitely will go lower owned than he normally would because of all the extra running backs, but he is an absolute stud. He's got great projections today. The price isn't perfect, but again, he could absolutely nuke the slate for sure. Outside of that, though, I just can't get to anything else in this game. If we talk on the Indiana Penn State game, just another ugly game. Indiana's just a tough team to love anything with. I'd argue Clifford at 7K is worth some merit. And was it Washington that absolutely nuked last week, I think, on the Penn State side? You can go back to him. Just felt like a flash in the pan type game from him. Granted, he has a ceiling, but it really felt like last week was just an absolute, really game script thing. Like the whole bit was perfect for him to get there. I will not have any Washington today. And again, Indiana, I can't follow at all. On the Memphis UCF game, again, another game where it's like tough to really love anything in. Hennigan at home at 6.4 is definitely worth it. But we talk about upside on this slate. I don't think he's there upside wise. So easy pass for me. Well, I'll be lower than I should be on him anyway. The quarterback situation for Central Florida, though, is interesting, right? Because Keen at 6.7 makes some sense. And he's easy to pair with either O'Keefe or Hudson. So you could do that as well. So anyway, nothing I really love from these three games, but definitely have sprinkled in ownership of them. I don't consider these late game hammers by any mean either. Mangone, these three games in particular, what sticks out the most for you?
Yeah, Dunkel, you were like, we got three games, not a lot to talk about. Like your monologue went on forever. Like, that's all I'm going to say.
It was a 2-minute monologue on three games. I'm trying.
I mean, hey, Parker Washington in play, Garrett Schrader, not dying to play today. I just think we're going to be spending up a quarterback a little bit more, at least on my end. Now, if I get some Abanaconda, I'm in, but not someone I'm prioritizing in my lineups. Of these games, I think for the most part, Parker Washington is going to be maybe my favorite. And then I know Bruce has a little bit of a gem in the 3K range on Memphis. Maybe he can touch on that I didn't know as much about. And he's someone I was considering playing, but that's kind of it for me. I really don't want to load up on this game.
Bruce, hit us with that 3K stud.
Yeah, Joe Skates from Memphis. He's Iowa State transfer. He's a little boomer bust. So a lot like Trey Barber in years past. His average depth of target is 21.8, but he is on the field most of the game, and he's a big fast guy. So he's only 3K. Solid value piece there. I don't know if you need it with all the value today, but I think on any other slate, I'd probably just lock him in. It's just a good solid play. I think Abanaconda is probably the best GPP running back today. Syracuse has been pretty bad against the run. Notre Dame ran it all over them. So I think that's a very interesting GPP play. The UCF quarterback situation you touched on, Memphis is so bad at defending the pass. And I think if Keene plays, I will probably have some of him and some of the wide receivers there and run it back with Skates. Just seems like a cheap stack where you can fit in a lot of other pieces there.
And then I'm just making sure. So, and then Penn State, Indiana, you didn't say much there. Bruce, you don't like anything there?
The weather there is pretty bad too. I think saw 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, so not horrible, but the totals come down from 53 to 50. So it's not horrible, but there's I do think Parker Washington's in play. Last 2 weeks he's been really good. Looks like Clifford is kind of singled him out. Also Cam Camper is out for Indiana for the season. So someone like Emory Simmons could be in play at the wide receiver spot, and maybe DJ Matthews as well if they're playing from behind.
I'm happy to die on this hill, by the way, guys. I wouldn't play Parker Washington today if he was 4,500. If you watched the game last week, they were down the entire game, forced to throw. And there was an 80-yard touchdown where two guys collided with each other, and Parker Washington ran 80 yards after he caught the ball for a touchdown. I just feel like that game was just a complete flash in the pan for him. And they're going to be leading most of this game. They're not going to need to throw it. Not to say he can't get there for you, but the idea of him going bonkers today, I think is egregious. All his points last week came when they were down double digits. So yeah, ultimately not a fan of Parker Washington at all. Big T, these 3 games in particular, anything stick out to you? Anything you really like?
No, I don't. I was trying to find some stuff. I mean, you could go to like the Penn State running backs, maybe. I don't know. There's just a lot of value and a lot of really good plays. So this slate really is going to be determined for me with the news we get the next 30 minutes, because I don't know, like you don't need to force plays as much with all these values. I mean, we're for sure going to have the Billy Kemp value, which is cheap. And there's just so many other things that could happen where, I mean, I'm still just watching Texas A&M, because if somehow you think our dude doesn't play, we're going to have to play one of these other guys because they're going to run the ball. I don't know. Le'Veon Moss, Amari Daniels look like they could be in play.
Moss is probably the guy. He looks like a stud. Yeah.
That's all I need to hear. Like, I don't see it. So what are we doing? I think it's the important part. Obviously the news is going to matter, but we started the show with the chain, and like, what are we doing? I mean, the price, when he was in there, it was a lock. We were making fun of it, but with so much uncertainty, like, how do we freaking handle this? Dunkel, number 7 player.
I think if we can get confirmation he's taking first team reps, do we have that yet?
Yeah, I think that's what I want to see too.
So assuming we can at least get that from somebody, beat writer, whoever. I'm definitely going to be lower than I was. So I was practically going to be like 80%. So I'm now probably going to be like closer to 50. And if anything, I mean, the problem is like, man, even 50, like if he sits there on the sidelines,
it's going to be so tilting.
You know what? It's a shame, but then party is going to kick yourself when the dude
goes off,
has 6 catches and 80 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns at the half. So yeah, it's a tilting situation. I don't have the answer because we don't have enough data to say either one way or the other. But if
you're wrong, like you're gonna get just torched wrong. Like there's gonna be no in between. I don't think.
So I tell you now, I'd probably be 50% on him. With him in probably one of my 3 mains. But again, the news could definitely change that, so I don't want to hard commit. But that's where I'd be at right now.
I think I'm gonna fade him.
You can't mind it. I'll tell you this though, if you're going to fade him, I think you got to play the guys behind him. I mean, you got to double leverage it, right?
I kind of like the pet, because the only thing we've seen for sure is that these receivers were out there getting reps and stuff. I already like the receivers. They got great projections. Maybe the move is just to leverage the whole situation and play the passing game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and again, Virginia, you want to talk about your cheap options. Virginia throws the ball a ton. These guys are all 3K. So yeah.
So what do we do with, Virginia though feels a little easier because I don't want to play multiple, I don't think. And like Kemp's just sitting there as like a freebie. Like, we don't play anyone else with him, do we?
I mean, it's like, your typical where you find points type of thing, right? If you just at least know who's going to be in, I don't know how you don't. I'm going to have lineups where I play them together. I don't know. Like, to me, I'm paying 6,300 and I'm getting 2 receivers that are going to be on the field the entire game.
How do you know who the other ones even are though? In
a trailing script. That's what I'm saying. Like if we can find out who's taking those reps with them, in a trailing script. I mean, granted, you could just play Kemp and move on. I don't think the other guy's going to be owned at all. So you could just play Kemp and move on. But I don't see how you don't play Kemp. I mean, obviously, if Kemp doesn't get there, it's fine. But like, to me, right now with all this scattered news, that feels like the safest news of all.
So someone just posted a tweet in the Discord. It says we'll see a lot of Luke Wentz, Dimmick Starling, and Ethan Davies at wide receiver today, along with Billy Kemp. So I'm trying to dig to see if Luke Wentz is Carson's brother, but I don't know. I probably won't play him. So.
God, it makes me like Carolina a lot less too. For the record,
Yeah.
like their prices are high. I don't know.
Yeah, because if Virginia can't score, North Carolina doesn't.
How is Virginia? Like, we can argue about point. Like Billy Camp, the other 3K, that's completely different to me, because even if they don't score, they could grind us to like 15 points. But like, how are they going to actually score? Like, as far as the actual football game, they can't score, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be North Carolina's defense just sucks. Like, I mean, so I think they could score. Kemp at least has the reps. But yeah, I mean, I agree. You would think they would struggle. And North Carolina doesn't really stop their own offense, so there's that. But yeah, I would still feel comfortable with Kemp. I think the rest of the guys are a complete crapshoot.
Yeah, I think that's right. This Wentz guy's from Germany. I don't know any good receivers that have come from Germany. So yeah, that's
guys from Germany.
That's rough. Yeah, the receiver. I like Starling a little bit. I've seen him play in the past, so he's not horrible. But Kemp, yeah, it's just a standout play in that group.
All right, so guys, we basically covered all the games. Any other last notes before we close out?
I think just watch out for the Oklahoma State running back situation. That's very important against a bad Kansas defense. Also the A&M running back situation. I think Moss is a great play if A-Shane doesn't play. So that's a really interesting min price running back if you need it. But yeah, there's tons of value.
Love it. All right, folks, with that in mind, gamble responsibly, stay safe. As always, run pure. Obviously, hang out in the Discord for college football with us. Bruce will all be posting any notes we see with regards to injuries. Use the next 25 minutes to leverage that news as best you can and build the lineups as best you can. All that considered, run pure. Good luck today, everybody. Hope you all make some money. Helmet, let's get out of here.